Welcome to 𝗲𝗵𝗺 class 1 of central nervous system. This class is all about Neisseria and Listeria, my dear friends. Although Hemophilus and Streptococcus are also responsible for causing meningitis. If you remember the mnemonic poems, M is the meningitis in them. But since we have already discussed Hemophilus and Streptococcus in great details, what I'll do, I'll give you the link in the description so that you can go there once and revise these videos very well. So coming on to the Neisseria and Listeria, these are the core topics over here. But one important thing, that Neisseria is also responsible for causing the urethritis, that is called as gonococcal urethritis. Although we will study it here only, but then my dear friends, when we will start UTI, the kidney, we will teach you this with the help of this video only. So I'll put the link of this video in that description so that you can come back and revise it from this video. Starting with the Listeria. The full name of Listeria is Listeria monocytogenes, and if you remember, I have told you that if you have seen the tumbler, the small kids having the tumbler, there is a list like 100 ml, 200 ml, 300 ml. So Listeria has a list on tumbler means tumbling mortality. So there is a tumbling mortality. Okay. So imagine yourself at 22 degrees Celsius, that's a cold temperature. So you are going to shake more. So in the cold temperature at 22 degrees Celsius, Listeria is going to show increase in the tumbling mortality. Whereas 37 degrees Celsius, that mortality is less, because 37 degree means the sun is at its peak and there's lot of hot weather outside, so you don't prefer to be motile, you don't prefer to go outside. So this is the way Listeria also does. So hence it is called as a differential mortality. Okay, hence it is called as a differential mortality. This mortality is going to show what? Umbrella shaped mortality in the, or umbrella shaped colonies in the semi-solid media. So if I just draw an umbrella over it, yeah, umbrella shaped, yes. So umbrella shaped in the semi-solid media. I have told you that Listeria is fond of cold weather. That's why in the growth, please remember, it is fond of growing in the cold enrichment media. That means can grow at 4 degrees Celsius refrigerator. So the temperature in refrigerators is generally 2, 3, 4 degrees Celsius, and it is fond of growing there. The selective media for that matter is 𝗲𝗃 media. 𝗲𝗃 media is having a lot of things like polymyxin, acrefilvin, lithium chloride, ceftazidime, asculin, mannitol, all these things. But 𝗲𝗃 is the media for Listeria monocytogenes. So remember that you have to remember my name also. So my name P for 𝗲𝗃 media and L for your Listeria monocytogenes. L for Listeria, P for 𝗲𝗃 media. Toxin, very easy to remember, Listeriolysin O. And pathogenesis, remember it is an intracellular parasite, and actin based jet mortality it is going to show. That means it spreads cell to cell. So here I'll make one more picture. Can you see this? The above, yeah. So this is what, this is a jet which I have tried to show you. Okay, make a jet again, right? Yeah. So jet type of mortality. Now what does this mean? See, just like the jets move from one air base to the another air base, right? Similarly, Listeria has to follow actin. So what happens? For example, these are the different cells which I have tried to show you. So because it is a intracellular parasite, it can't come out of this cells. So what it does, it takes hold, or it catches the actin filament, and via the actin filament it is going to go from here to here to here to here to here to here. So this is the way it is supposed to go. Now Listeria causes neonatal meningitis and granulomatous infantiseptica. So IJKLMNOP, right? So what does this all about? So M for meningitis, N for neonatal meningitis. O for Listeriolysin O is there. P for you very well know 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵, and L for Listeria, which is there, okay, and the name is Listeria. So, A for ampicillin, this is the drug of choice. Ampicillin is the drug of choice. Naturally, you can culture PCR ELISA, these are the things which you can do. This was about the Listeria. Coming on to the next topic, that is Neisseria. So, Neisseria has got two very important species. One is Neisseria gonorrhoeae, which is actually a core topic of the urogenital system, but we will study here because we are studying the Neisseria. And of course, one more very important topic is Neisseria meningitis, that is responsible for causing meningitis. So, before we start Neisseria, I think it is very clear to you that the organism which is responsible for neonatal meningitis is Listeria and granulomatous infantiseptica. That means in kids, Listeria is coming in what? In kids only. So, granulomatous infantiseptica, and of course, your neonatal meningitis. Okay. If I just make a cute kid here, I do not know if I will be able to, but then still I will try. Obviously the milk bottle. Anyways, so Listeria is for the small kids, whereas Neisseria is for the big kids. Let us go one by one. So, please understand gonorrhea first. Gonorrhea is responsible for causing the urethritis, okay. The inflammation of urethra we will discuss, okay. So, first of all, as I have told you that gonorrhea is responsible for causing urethritis, let me just revise a basic anatomy for you. So, this is your kidney, this is your, yes, what is this? Oh, sorry, yeah. So, this is your kidney, and what is this? This is the ureters. Ureters going to the bladder, and from the bladder this is the urethra. So, it is responsible for causing urethritis. The significance of making kidneys over here is that gonorrhea itself is a kidney shaped diplococci without any capsule. Why? Because gonorrhea wants to go. So, because gonorrhea wants to go, Neisseria gonorrhoea is having no capsule. So, gonorrhea, no capsule, that is why she can go, it can go. What are the virulence? So, remember the virulence for Neisseria is, there is a very famous book of physiology named 𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗺. So, this is my mnemonic to remember the virulence. Now, G for gonorrhea, yes, PAL, P for pili, A for IgA, L for lipo-oligosaccharide. So, pili, IgA protease and lipo-oligosaccharide, that is actually an endotoxin, okay, inside, okay. And pili, there are two types, T1 and T2, they are having the major virulence, and pili everywhere it is responsible for the attachment only. So, pili wherever it is responsible for the attachment only, right. Coming on to the laboratory diagnosis. So, first of all, you have to understand that which sample you are going to take. I have told you that in males it is responsible for causing urethritis. So, obviously the urethral discharge is going to be taken, and you have to do a gram staining where it is a gram negative bacteria. Similarly, from the females you are going to take a endocervical swab. So, for those of you who do not know cervix, there is an ectocervix, there is an endocervix. So, you take a swab from the endocervix and then perform a gram stain. And to confirm your diagnosis, you have to culture. And how you will culture? You remember that there is a New York City media, modified 𝗲𝗵-Martin media, modified Muller-Hinton agar. So, how to remember? So, Mr. Muller takes his Thar jeep and goes for hunting in the New York City. Easy to remember. Mr. Muller means Muller-Hinton agar. Thar jeep means 𝗲𝗵-Martin media. Hunt means Muller-Hinton only. New York City means New York City media. Okay, easy to remember? Yes. What are the diseases? It is responsible for causing sexually transmitted disease, gonorrhea, yes. Remember, in males it is having the urethritis. So, naturally at the time of urination there will be pain, there will be discharge, and of course there is a stricture formation. So, what does stricture formation means? See, Urethritis means what? Urethritis means inflammation, and obviously it leads to necrosis, death of the urogenital tract epithelium. So once there is a death of the epithelium, this leads to what? This further leads to the repair. So repair is by the fibrosis. So if the fibrosis exceeds the normal, now why repair is by fibrosis? This is simple. If a cloth of you is getting torn, obviously you would stitch it, no? So that's why if the cell is getting torn, there is a stitching by fibrosis. But if the fibrosis is exceeding the normal value, there will be fibrosis which is happening, and that is called as stricture. So this was the normal lumen, and there are a lot of strictures which have been formed inside. So that also causes trouble because the urine is not going to pass properly. Clear? But one important thing is water can perineum. So out of all the perineum, there will be multiple tracts which will be formed, and it will be throwing water as if water is coming out from, or throwing pus or the materials as if they are coming out from a morning shower, so called as water can. Okay, so coming out from a water can, so it's called as water can perineum. Clear? Then in females, it is the second most common cause of pelvic inflammatory disease. Comment down in the comment section that which is the first most common cause of pelvic inflammatory disease. You have to tell. The second most common cause is definitely gonococcus. Now this gonococcus is responsible for causing rash, responsible for causing arthritis, and of course perihepatitis, that is called as 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗺 syndrome. I promised you that whenever I'll teach you, I'll show you. So see here, yeah. So this is your liver. Can you see? This is the inferior border of the liver, and there is a lot of inflammation and these sting-like substances or sting-like material which is there attached. So this is the perihepatitis called as 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗺 syndrome. Okay. So females, please remember, females, I mean, they don't like boys. Okay. So they keep them far. Okay. So females far. What does that mean? Females far means F for 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗺 syndrome, that is perihepatitis, A for arthritis which is happening, and R for rash which is happening. Okay. And yes, of course, one important part is P, that is second most common cause of P, that is pelvic inflammatory diseases, gonococcus only. So since we were taking the swab from the endocervix, that means there is an endocervicitis which is happening, and endocervicitis is further going to have the discharge, and discharge is going to come out through the vagina, that is the vaginal discharge. One more important part is neonates. In neonates, it shows purulent conjunctivitis, yes, ophthalmia neonatorum. I think I have got a picture also. No, sorry, I have not. Okay, fine. Anyways, so please remember that it has got a purulent conjunctivitis in the neonates, that is ophthalmia neonatorum. What is the treatment? So remember, nowadays, earlier we used to give penicillin, but now there are penicillinase producing gonococcus. So gonococcus have started producing penicillinase. That means the penicillin is going to get destroyed, and once the penicillin is destroyed, we have to give what? We have to give the ceftriaxone and the azithromycin. So easy way to remember, if it is gonococcus, G and C look similar, so give ceftriaxone. Coming on to meningococcus or meningitidis, the reason why we are discussing Neisseria in CNS. So my dear friends, it is a kidney-shaped diplococci, and gonococcus was also the same, but remember, meningococcus, gonococcus was gonococcus. That means she wants to go, so please don't have capsule. But meningococcus wants to go, but does not, but cannot go. Why? Because there is a capsule which is present. Capsule present. So coming on to the next thing, yes, 𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗺, if you remember, was the mnemonic for gonorrhea. Similarly, here also polysaccharide capsule. That P was different, this P is different. Yes, what was 𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗺's P? Remember, 𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗴𝗺𝗺 P, what was that? P for pili was there. Whereas here you see this is a polysaccharide capsule. Again IgA1 protease and lipo-oligosaccharide, which is an endotoxin, these both are, all the things are similar. But then polysaccharide capsule is important, and I always teach students to recite ABSM for capsule. So what does that mean? A for antiphagocytic, V for virulent, okay, and S for serotypes. How many serotypes are there? 13 serotypes are there, in which the A, the B, the C, the Y and W, they are very important serotypes, and you have to keep it in your mind whenever you are discussing about meningococcus. A, B, C, Y, W. It's important, important, important and very important. A, B, C, Y and W for meningitis, okay. So if you can't recall, I am giving you a trick to remember this also. Some of the students message me, sir, we think that we have to make tricks to remember the tricks further. But anyways, this is microbiology, enjoy, right? So M, the mirror image of M is W. So W is important, okay, one thing. Then meningitis, yeah, it is W which is important, and remember this, if I just break down W, so this becomes like this is Y which is there, okay, and this is V, so the opposite of V is A, so this is A, B and C come together. This is the way how I used to remember this, okay. Culture media, yes, the 𝗖𝗵, the car you have to remember how it is transmitted. So similarly, see it's very simple to understand that either it is going to get inhaled and it is going to get colonized in the nasopharynx, or it is going to spread to brain directly via middle ear, or it can have the pathway which is called as hematogenous pathway. So can you see what is happening? Either, see, it is the going to pass via the inhalation to the nasopharynx, simply. So either it is inhaled and they are in the nasopharynx, or what can happen, either there is a direct spread, that means from ear it is going to go to the brain, right, or what can happen, from the ear or from the pharynx it is going to go to the blood vessels, and from the blood vessels it can go to the brain. So both of these things can happen. What are the diseases which are very important? So very simple, meningitis, M for meningitis, M, that is going to happen, pyogenic meningitis. Then meningococciemia, that means M again, and then Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. So M ka ulta W, opposite of M is W. So the diseases are with M or W. Before I proceed on, a very genuine request to you. I am sure pathology ma'am has taught you a table where she has divided the meningitis into three parts. One meningitis is bacterial, other meningitis is viral, and then the tubercular meningitis. Please go through that table once. There is no point of repetition and making your notes bulky. That's why here we don't believe in, you know, overlapping of topics. So please go there once and revise it. It's important. Coming back to the topic, what is Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome? This is the fulminant meningococciemia. That means your adrenal gland, the meningococcus is going to go to the adrenal gland and causing the hemorrhages there. So that is the Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. What is meningococciemia? Coccemia means it is going to come in blood, just like anemia means no blood. Meningococcemia means meningococcus in the blood, that leads to rash, petechial hemorrhages, that leads to adrenal hemorrhages, okay, that leads to hypotension and in fact DIC as well. You have to just remember adrenal hemorrhage, hypotension, DIC. Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome, I have told you, that's a fulminant meningococcemia. That means meningococcemia is occurring at a pace which is very fast. Clear? So how will you diagnose? I have told you gram stain, culture, antigen detection in the CSF is important. That's important. ELISA is important, PCR important. What is the drug of choice? Similarly, just like we discussed for the gonococcus, similarly for the meningococcus, that's going to be ceftriaxone. And for the prophylaxis, you can give ciprofloxacin and rifampicin. This is important. Okay. Now, what about the vaccine? So remember, meningococcus, yes, because meningococcus has got a capsule, and whenever there is capsule, there are going to be the different serotypes, and because there are different serotypes which are present, of course, there are going to be conjugate vaccine and polysaccharide vaccine. Polysaccharide vaccine for more than 2 years, conjugate vaccine for less than 2 years. Okay. So, poly means multiple, so more than 2, conjugate means less than 2. And what are the stains? So, I told you there are 5 stains very important, A, B, C, Y and W. So, if you just remove B, A, C, W, Y are the 4 stains which are responsible or which are used in the preparation of vaccine. This is a tetravalent vaccine which is available. Coming on to the pictures, can you see this is the one which I was talking about, the kidney shaped, okay, gram negative, diplococci, kidney bean shaped, see here, kidney bean shaped, gram negative, this picture I have already told you. Yeah, coming on to this little picture that's important, can you see this is a discharge which is happening. So, this discharge is important, that's not yellow, that's a white discharge. So, discharge is important for the diagnosis of gonorrhea. This is the urethral discharge and this is the endocervical discharge which is there. And yes, this is a small difference table. I have told you meningitis has got capsule where there is no capsule. Because there is capsule, there is vaccine possible. Meningococcus, the entry is by respiratory, whereas gonorrhea, G for gonorrhea, G for genital, very simple. After that, I have told you that okay, these things we have not discussed. So, remember gonorrhea is very clumsy, PPGN I have told you, penicillinase producing gonorrhea. So, the resistance is very common if it comes to beta-lactamase, but it is rare in Neisseria meningitidis. Yeah, this thing we have not discussed. So, remember meningitis can ferment the maltose, okay, whereas gonorrhea does not, but both of them are glucose fermenters. This is important to be remembered. So, yes, this was all about Neisseria. I hope that this is important. I don't hope, I know it is important. I just hope that the concept is clear to you, the mnemonics are good for you, and you are good to go for the topic of Neisseria meningitis. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you in the next lecture.